Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Freaks with a Z, the podcast all about movies. Each episode is about a particular movie, and we'll talk about this episode's movie in a little bit. But first, if you missed the fan vote, don't worry, it happens on Tay's episode, which is in about 3 episodes from now. 2 episodes from now? I guess including this one, I guess 3. Whatever, doesn't matter. If you want to get your movie on the fan vote and you haven't already suggested a movie for us, you can send us an email at ff.filmfreaks with a Z at the end at gmail.com or comment on the latest episode of Film Freaks on YouTube. Or you can actually comment on Spotify now. You can actually leave a comment on Spotify. I get notifications for that, so if you want to leave a recommendation there, you can do that as well. Or just chat in the Ferret Nation Discord, link down in the description below if you want to chat there and request a movie in the movie stuff section. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves before we introduce the movie. I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I'm here with
Sergeant Waffles.
Tay Nation.
Ray of positivity.
I had a name all planned out, and then second it came up to me, I was like, what was it? I don't remember. Who am I? What is going on?
And I don't know why, but your pausing just threw me right away.
how is the troop doing today?
Oh,
Okay.
doing good.
I'm doing all right.
You know, went to work in the dark and came home in the dark. How fun.
Yay.
Good job for everyone saving daylight. Woo!
No one's saving
We didn't
daylight.
save it. It's
Daylight
gone.
saving is the biggest scam on the planet.
But
do you
I
guys
felt
even
very
do
well
that?
rested on Sunday.
Is Arizona the only state that doesn't do it?
Yeah, Arizona's the only
Hawaii as well.
Oh,
Why?
can't forget about Hawaii.
Oh, what?
Hawaii.
Hey, you can't forget about Stitch. Leo and Stitch.
They know how to do it over there. This movie that we're going to talk about today was recommended by a person who doesn't seem to be on the internet anymore, at least from my understanding. But they were known as Iovio Gaming, and then they changed their name to like a Space Pickle, and then they kind of dropped off the platform. So, if you're out there,
Fitting for the movie.
what was that?
I said fitting for the movie. Space Pickle.
Space, yeah, yes. So if they're out there and they're listening to this, we appreciate the recommendation and we hope you're doing well. But the movie that they chose was Starship Troopers from 1997, directed by Paul Verhoeven. And the synopsis is set in the future. Hold on, let me get the voice. Set in the future, the story follows a young soldier named Johnny Rico and his exploits in the mobile infantry. Rico's military career progresses from recruit to non-commissioned officer, and finally to officer, against the backdrop of an interstellar war. And this stars Casper Van Dien, Dina Meyer, Denise Richards, Jake Busey, Neil Patrick Harris, Clancy Brown, a.k.a. Mr. Krabs, and many more. I don't know where to start this one other than as soon as Mr. Krabs said one word, I was like, that's Mr. Krabs. And I could only see that character as Mr. Krabs.
Can I just call it IMBD or IMDb on their description of this movie? Because it's wrong. Well, it's not wrong, but it's dumb.
Well, read it
said-
to us.
Humans in a fascist militaristic future wage war on giant alien bugs. It's like, what?
That sounds about right to me.
I mean, I don't think they wage war on them, though. I mean, they had no choice but to.
Well,
That's still waging war.
I mean,
guess.
if you're going to a planet and you're shooting guns, I believe that would be waging some sort of war.
Well, it's their own planet, so they're defending.
Well, I mean, yeah, technically the bugs are defending themselves on their own planet. That's true.
I mean, the bugs did attack first, so
Or so you think.
Dun, dun, dun.
Does this change your opinion at all if I tell you that the expanded universe of Starship Troopers, the humans actually launched the asteroid at ourselves? Like I think it was like the government or whatever launched the asteroid at ourselves. That gets revealed in one of the later movies.
Yeah.
Well, that explains what I was about to say is the biology teacher, one of the Golden Girl lady, mentions that they send the asteroids to like expand their, the bugginess.
Yes.
So I was like, in the future episodes, are the bugs on Earth because of the asteroid? But I guess not if the humans sent it themselves.
Yeah, that's why it was like when they were doing their flight test or whatever you want to call it, and the asteroid appears out of nowhere. That's why it appears out of nowhere because, and also why it hits Earth because at the beginning of the movie they show the two the turrets shooting the asteroids before they get to Earth, right? Well, why didn't they shoot the asteroid before?
Well,
it gets to Earth?
that was a year after the first asteroid hit. Remember, the movie starts and then jumps back a year earlier. So they didn't have the asteroid defense system in place yet.
I thought it said 6 months later after that whole commercial went off.
No, because it shows you the guy on the planet doing the the broadcast, and then it says after all of that, it's like a year earlier, and that's when. So they don't have the asteroid defense at that point yet.
All right, never mind.
It's fine. It's good.
But still, uncharted asteroid gets into their it was sent by the humans.
Yeah. Cray. I mean, not really. I mean, if anyone's ever seen there's a Futurama spoof episode of this movie, and that's how it ends: is that the humans were the aggressors.
Well, yeah. I mean, in this case, it seems like knowing what we know now, that the force was essentially sent to the planet to take it over and then start colonizing it, essentially, right? So,
yeah.
And it's obviously it's habitable because they don't need to wear helmets with oxygen masks or anything like that, right? So.
Yeah.
They kind of just are like, okay, well, this is an oxygen-rich planet. Let's go ahead and take out the species there and move on.
Classic Earth.
America.
World government.
Although, was America? Because, they were in Brazil, and it was what did they call it? The Federation? I don't remember now.
No, I'm just saying that's something America would do,
Oh, yeah,
Let's just go in and...
Oh, yeah, totally something America would do and does do.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's thinking about watching any more of these movies, but I watched all 3 of the movies back in the day, so I don't have I'm kind of fuzzy on the details, but... the second movie was like a complete 180 from this one. Like instead of it being like a all out war or whatever, it's more of like a pseudo horror movie, kind of like Alien or Aliens, right?
Huh.
But obviously it didn't work because it was kind of bad. You follow like a group of 6 soldiers and they are going through this compound with the bugs everywhere. And then it's a random group of soldiers, not even anyone from the original movie either. So it doesn't have that attached to it. And then I saw the third movie, which came out in 2008, brought back, I believe, 2 of the cast members, which was Rico and... Oh, maybe not. They only brought back Rico. Casper Van Dien. Everyone else didn't want to sign back on. I think at this point, Neil Patrick Harris was super famous from How I Met Your Mother, so I don't think he would have came back to do this.
Yeah.
But this one also bombed. Average rating of 2 stars.
Not surprising he was the only one who came back, because what else has he been? What else has he done?
Well, let's find out.
Here we go. Word.
Yeah.
Rico was in oh god, Atla Battle Angel. He was the little kid in Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, okay. Well, that was before this, right?
Yeah, he was in Sharktopus versus Whale Wolf.
Ooh.
What was that?
He was in Casper: A Spirited Beginning. He was in Dracula 3000. Let's go.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. All right. I stand correct. He's done stuff for sure.
All blockbusters, absolutely.
And it was so like I know that they do this a lot in Hollywood, but like in this movie, it's so bad, where they're like, these are high school students. It's like, sir, that's a 30-year-old.
I've never met a high school student with a mortgage. Wow.
I looked it up, and like when they filmed this, he was like 29. Him and Xander. I think Denise Richards was like 2 years younger than them, so like 27. It's just like, and then towards the end, you know, when they're like the new recruits, like, oh, look how young they look, and they actually got like high schoolers.
Yeah, they actually look young.
Yeah,
As you pan past them.
Yeah, of course they're babies. You've been in this war for, I don't know, a year, maybe?
Yeah, it feels like less. It feels like 6 months.
Yeah.
Maybe not even.
Right? Which means it's like, well, plus with all the training and stuff, you know, it's like, okay, so you guys are probably 19. They're supposedly 19. It's like, and these new recruits are 18. It's like, yeah, it still doesn't. It's just so bad that they do that in Hollywood. Just high school students with mortgages. Good way to put it, Ray.
For them to be raunchy and stuff, they have to make it quote unquote okay.
Yeah,
That's mainly why we see it. That's my personal opinion.
Well, and also, I mean, it's easier to work with adults than kids when you have to worry about school and stuff. But
true.
But either way, it's like you'd get like a 21-year-old, 22-year-old. They would look more high school than almost 30-year-old.
That is true.
It's like going back and watching the original Spider-Man. You know, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and you see like Tobey Maguire in them. You're like, these guys are like 25, 26. At least.
Yeah.
And they're trying to be high school students. It's just Hollywood loves to do that.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well.
What do you guys think about like all the relationship forming in like all the the sex scenes and the nudity? What do you guys all think
Scenes
about
with an S?
that? Yeah.
There was only one.
Yeah, there's only one sex scene.
Well,
What version were you watching?
No.
The shower scene.
But shower scene, and then I guess
There's
that's
no-
not sex, but
Yeah. There's just nudity.
then I should have said makeout scenes. There you go.
I think they did. I mean, yeah, I think they did a pretty good job at developing these characters. I know it goes a little bit fast at times, but like you follow Rico and what's her face for the most part. Carmen for the most part, and I think that I do think that they do a good job of developing those two characters and the characters around them. I'm about to sneeze. Wait,
Bless you.
it's gone. All right. I think they do a good job of developing the characters around them. As for like the relationships, you kind of figured that he was going to get together with what's her face midway through Willie Diz. Because they set that up very early on with her trying to steal a dance away from him and whatever, and it is obviously a bit Hollywoodized because it's like, of course the lead actor has two girls just clamoring over him for the first part of the movie. But I do think they do a good job of there's a bit of a distinction here where because Rico goes into the infantry unit, he's got the more gruff and tough kind of style, and the troops around him have much more personality than the troops around Carmen, who's in the like pseudo space force, air force, whatever you want to call it. And they really only developed like the two, her and the guy that she
Xander.
meets. Yeah. So I think I like how they just really distinguish both those different parts of like this military force that they got going on here. And I think that it also works really well that all these characters who are in Rico's squad, like they all have their personalities and they're all important to not only the plot of the movie but also to the story as a whole. So I like how they did that. I think they did a good job with the squad.
Yeah.
And as for like the relationship thing, like I said, it's they set it up at the beginning, so it's not like too crazy when they do eventually, fuck in the tent. It's just kind of crazy that after that happens, the scene where she dies is like 10 minutes later. Kind of crazy.
Of course it is.
But that's war.
There's plenty of scenes where it's like, oh, we're going into war, but wait, we gotta have this first. And it's like the beef between the two guys, and there's just like, I don't know, it just got a little obnoxious at points.
Yeah.
It's fair.
What's funny is when Diz died, like I joked that her last remark was like, "Well, at least I got to do you," and that basically is her last line.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh jeez.
I don't know. I think the relationships and outside like the two main characters, I don't know. It just felt slow at times, and I'm just like, all right, where are the bugs at?
That's
But-
fair.
It kind of makes up for it halfway, and well, not even halfway. I'll say more than halfway.
So-
they want to get you invested in the characters. Like you got to go
Yeah,
through. It's almost it's kind of like
I was not really invested.
Okay, well, it's kind of like Platoon, where they start off in that movie. They're in training camp, and you get to know the different characters that are gonna be dying later on in the movie, I suppose. And I think that they did a okay job of kind of copying off of that. I mean, it's not really copying because it's an army movie or whatever. So it's like, okay, of course they're gonna do the whole training sequence and have the characters have their trials and tribulations while going through that. I think you say it's slow, but I say that it's actually good world building as they go through, because they kind of just shove you into this movie with like that commercial, and then they have a couple more commercials, like, or I don't know, propaganda videos, I guess, spliced throughout the entire movie, and those do add to the world. But it's nice to see them actually interacting with things, like kind of sci-fi things. Like the guy breaks his arm or has his arm broken, and they don't even explain it. They just kind of show him with like this blue gel on his arm, and he's like moving around. Like it's nice. It's those moments that you kind of need to build the story. Like you can't just start with like. Well, I guess they kind of do start with like the bugs and that attack scene. So they kind of start you off with a bit of a bang, then they go backwards. But you need that build up to be like, okay, here's how this all happened. Here's all your squad mates. Here's why Carmen and Rico split up, and here's like the tension between them, and here's Ditzy and whatever. And I thought this movie went by pretty fast for me personally. Like even though it's a 2.5 hour movie or whatever, I felt like it went pretty fast for me personally. But I also was invested in the characters, so
Yeah, after the first hour, it sped up, but that first hour is just.
So I have,
Same.
I saw this movie a while ago in its entirety, probably like sometime between 2015 2017 was the first time I saw it in its entirety. I remembered like 3 things from this movie. Like, so watching it this time, I was just like, oh, hey, this is like a new movie for me that I've never seen, because I cannot remember a damn thing. The only 3 things I remember were obviously that I'm doing my part, which is, a meme that gets used a bunch. Xander getting his like brain sucked out. And then at the end when it's Neil Patrick Harris putting his, doing the psychic link with the bug saying, she's afraid. Those are like the 3 things I remembered. I didn't remember Diz dying. I didn't remember like anything. I don't know. what that says about this movie, but
Maybe, I mean, I remembered quite a lot about this one. Because there's a lot of, like, moments that stuck out to me, like the part where the guy gets his brain sucked out.
yeah, that
Kinda.
part I remembered.
Kind of is, like, a big point for me. Like, I do remember the ship being, like, hit by the asteroid. Yeah, I had pieces, like, I also remembered, like, the one guy, sacrificing himself to bury the bugs in the tunnel. There's pieces of the movie, this movie that I remembered. Mostly the big moment things.
Don't lie, guys. You just remember the shower scene. No, I'm kidding.
So what's funny? The last time I saw this, it was for Riff Tracks, which if you don't know what that is, it's like Mystery Science Theater, which you may also not know what it is. Basically, it's just people, comedians, kind of heckling the movie as it goes along. So I saw that version, which means I was more focusing on what the comedians were saying than the actual movie. Oh geez, that was back in 2013. Which is probably why I don't remember a whole lot. Because I was focusing on the jokes.
Makes
Yeah, I
sense.
remember parts of this movie. I think I said last episode I'd never seen it, but I do remember parts of it.
I had never even heard of it before. So
What?
Really?
yeah.
Do you
I
at
had no
least know the
idea.
meme? The I'm doing my part meme?
I don't know. Maybe?
Do you know
Yeah, well.
Helldivers?
No.
Okay. Well.
Oh man.
I don't know what Helldivers is.
Helldivers is a game that came out by, it was published by PlayStation.
The game. I thought. Okay, yeah, I know about the game.
Yeah,
thought you were-
essentially the game borrowed pretty much everything from this movie.
Well, this is Starship Troopers game.
Yeah, that was released after Helldivers.
Oh, I thought it was released before.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And then
so
Helldivers 2, which is really good.
yeah, Helldivers 2 is obviously more aligned to this movie, but it all started with the original Helldivers, and it was more like a top-down, like shoot the bugs kind of game. And then Helldivers 2 came out this year, and it has, these bugs that obviously they're different designs than the bugs from the movie, but the whole presentation of Helldivers 2 is very much like, okay, you got like the opening cutscene is like a guy like saying like, this is why living in this time is amazing, and we have the army or the military to thank and the space force to thank.
Yeah, that is.
So it's very
now that you
Starship
mention that.
Troopers-esque, and then of course they have the whole bug faction and the plants you go to and you clear out like the bugs from the ground and stuff like that. So it is very much inspired by Starship Troopers. And then the people who hold the Starship Troopers IP is like, oh shit, we missed out on a ton of money, didn't we? So they did their own like first person shooter version of Helldivers with the actual bugs from this movie. I obviously haven't played it, but
So is Earth Defense Force the same? Is that taken from Starship Troopers?
I mean, Earth Defense Force is like Japanese game, so I mean, it's possible that they could be inspired by Starship Troopers as well. I mean, those giant bugs are actually bugs, like they're giant ants and spiders and stuff like that. So it's kind of a bit more of a stretch, but it's possible that they were inspired by Starship Troopers too. But yeah, the Helldivers has the presentation though of the movie, right? So, and Earth Defense Force, even though it's a bit bombastic at times, it doesn't have that same presentation. So that's why I would equate Helldivers to closer to Starship Troopers.
Yeah, if we're comparing, I agree with that. All right.
So what y'all think of the effects?
It reminded me of Star
And-
Wars.
Yeah, kind of goofy at times.
Yeah, some of them didn't hold up, but some of it did kind of hold up. Okay.
Yeah. It was kind of like the classic, like, 80s, 90s
Yeah.
CGI vibe.
Actually, during the football scenes, the football game in the beginning, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah, or it's like,
What is this?
you guys playing on trampolines?
Trampolines, cables attached to them.
Yeah. I do find it like the scene where Rico accidentally gets one of his squad mates killed in training camp. The whole fake head, and then you see it kind of explode. Which is funny because like they're like, you made him take off his helmet. He would have lived without it. It's like they shot him point blank in the face. Those helmets don't guard the face.
Yeah.
But that, and then like Xander getting his brain sucked out. Like it's very much like The Thing, kind of like
Yeah.
just the waxy like mannequin head that you can tell is a mannequin head exploding, which is just it's classic.
It is.
Classic.
Yeah, I think they did a decent job with both the practical and the special effects. I liked all the orange blood that got splattered everywhere.
Yeah.
Unlike Tremors, they didn't use pumpkins for it, so a bit disappointed in that. But
I was too.
But yeah, I think there's just a couple of scenes where like the CG just doesn't hold up as well, and I think it's a lot of like the horde moments where there's a bunch of them on screen, and like the scale just isn't there. I should say the depth isn't there for that kind of thing, especially when they were like defending that outpost. I felt like it was like, okay, I gotta kind of just suspend my disbelief for a second here because it looks like a video game at this point.
Yeah. Some of the explosions didn't do a good job on the, like, you can tell they were comped, like, they just took assets of fire and tried to make it look like an explosion, and it didn't feel like it was actually there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking mainly when like Carmen's ship is going down and they're trying to escape, and like they're all the fireballs and everything just go. They didn't fit. They didn't feel like the ship was exploding. It's just like, oh, you just put an explosion on top of the ship. But other than that, like, most of their like pyrotechnics and stuff looked fine. I just don't know. They just blew their budget by the time they got to that scene, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you see that I think it was either the budget or how much they made from it? Hold on. It was like $100 million, but I can't remember which one.
I feel like this movie would have made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And there's still people that go back and watch it religiously. I mean, not saying they make money off of it now, but I think it definitely put its stamp in.
The budget was $100 million.
Jeez.
Which, for the 90s was pretty big budget.
I mean, I think that's huge, regardless. But maybe I'm out of touch.
And most movies now, they have like billion-dollar budgets.
Oh, that makes sense. We're in debt, trillions of dollars. So why not?
Yeah.
Go crazy.
Okay, maybe they're not billion-dollar budgets, but they make $1 billion. I don't know.
I feel like I remember reading that the latest Indiana Jones movie was like $100 million or something like that. And you would probably think that 50 million of those 100 million is probably just like getting the CGI young Indiana Jones in like the first 30 minutes is like most of the budget.
Yeah, probably.
This one only made $121 million at the box office.
Oh.
So,
Hey, it made money still.
Money.
Yeah,
21
but I mean, only having 21 million made, does that really justify having 2 sequels and an anime series for this?
I don't think so, personally.
Because as much as I like this movie, it doesn't have franchise material written all over it. Even though they leave a lot of things open at the end, which annoys me a lot. They just kind of end the movie. Like I don't see like high budget sequel in the future for this movie, and it obviously showed because the next movie was seen as it was much smaller scale and there was much less going on. They must not have been funded for $100 million again. So yeah, it's just one of those movies where it's like it starts at a very it's very jolting spot, and then it ends at a very jolting spot where it's like, and it's
There it
done.
is.
Well, it
Yeah.
ends like, and it feels like it is setting up like a trilogy kind of thing, where it's like, oh, we're gonna see like the whole arc of this war and stuff,
No, yeah.
but apparently not.
No, yeah, because the second movie goes a completely different direction.
Yeah.
And like I said, they do get back to it on the third one, but by that time it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is skip the second, watch the third.
No.
That's
I'm saying skip both the second and the third movie
Yeah, you're like, don't watch either of them.
because you're wasting your life doing that. Yeah, I mean, this is like the one shining speck in the Starship Troopers world.
So when I was watching it, like I paused it for a second. I saw like a little like blurb, come up on Amazon, like a fun fact. And I guess it's based on a book, but the book actually didn't ever get finished.
No, the director was reading the book, but he never finished reading it because
okay.
it was really terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Okay.
Okay.
That's what it was. Thank you. I was like,
I
I
got
only
you.
read a little bit of that blurb.
yeah, he was like, yeah, not good, wasn't good. So why not make a movie out of it?
Right? Yeah, and I really wish we could have gotten a little bit more of Neil Patrick Harris's like character. Like you get him at the beginning, you see him a little bit like once in the middle of the movie, and then a little bit at the end.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be more prominent.
Right? And he's
Fair.
kind of like the most interesting of the three. Like he's got psychic powers and like he's, high up, so he's getting all the intel and stuff.
He has a ferret.
He has a ferret.
He does.
Yep.
That apparently terrorizes his mother.
Yeah. When he tells it to.
Yeah, the Neil Patrick Harris arc isn't really an arc. It's kind of a plateau. He's a psychic. He
Yeah.
gets put into the officers, and then he is an officer. And boy, howdy, did they really pour on the Nazi SS uniform onto
Yes.
those officers.
Yes, they did. It was said that they had gotten the inspiration from the Third Reich, which is just like, wow,
Inspiration.
Yeah.
something. Oh, he's such a baby in this movie. He's so
I know.
young.
And the thing is, he probably was still young because he was, a child actor.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
so I mean, I don't think he was young. Like, I don't think he was high school age, but I don't think he was.
No, he was definitely like
30.
early 20s,
Yeah.
something like that.
Like he could pass for a high schooler. Versus the other guys, you're like, no.
Absolutely. He
Yeah,
kind of
you-
has that baby face.
Yeah, it's like Neil Patrick Harris. Oh yeah, you maybe shave once a week. While the other guy's like, if you don't shave every 2 hours, you have a 5 o'clock shadow.
Literally growing back before my eyes.
I guess let's go back to the effects, but what do you guys think of the bugs and all that? How they looked, and obviously we all like the scene where he's getting sucked, his brain's getting sucked out, but
Yeah.
The scene is getting sucked.
Yeah, we're just
the
gonna-
scene where he's getting sucked. Huh?
No, I think the design of the bugs was interesting enough.
What do you guys think of like when the bugs like stabbed the one guy in the leg and all that? Like,
That was Rico.
Yeah, it was
yeah, Rico, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was fine. I mean, I feel like because he like switched his gun at that point to like shotgun mode, and it was doing way more damage. It's like, why is everybody not doing this? They're just whatever.
Yeah.
And then the fake out of him being dead, and then he's not dead.
Yeah, yeah. Out of all the things that I would say was not good, that was the dumbest fake out ever because he literally is like dying and there's no one around him.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, the guy with the bionic arm saved you.
I think it would have been better if they had just killed him off. It's like, yeah, that's war, baby. Let's just follow a new guy.
That's war, baby.
Maybe we can pick it up from the Bug's perspective now.
I
There we
don't
go.
know if I want to see any more of that brain bug
Yeah, I don't.
with his
either.
big old gaping mouth.
That was
Yeah,
my
well.
favorite part.
Yeah, mine too. I do think it's silly that like what's his face Xander gave the knife to Carmen so she could cut off the brains thing.
Yeah,
When
why didn't
he
he just
could've-
do it himself?
Yeah, exactly. It's like he could have done that himself. I guess she was maybe because of where he was pinned down, she was in a better position to do it.
Or he was just buying time. Maybe he
Yeah.
knew that someone was coming to rescue them. Or not.
How did
mean,
he
I know.
go from like because he was like the same age as them, and like he immediately was like a flight instructor.
Because he was better at football.
Yeah, duh. 'Cause he had the
course.
better moves. No. He had the better pickup lines.
Sure. I guess, yeah.
He
That
went there
totally tracks.
like, what was it, like a month or so earlier before they did, so.
Yeah, I guess he did.
But then again, like, you go there with, I mean, did he have any prior training for flying? I don't
He
know.
must have for him to get promoted like that. But
Well,
like,
guys, we couldn't have relationships if he wasn't there.
yeah, they should have just told us these things. That's all I'm asking, movie. Give us a little like why do humans suddenly have psychic powers?
Why not?
Why not, indeed.
Does anyone else have anything they want to say about Starship?
No,
I
think I'm
mean,
good.
We've had so many awkward pauses.
Just this movie, in a nutshell, is awkward pause. Like, it's not a bad movie. It's entertaining. But I don't know. It's just I don't have anything to say about it really, besides
Yeah.
just nitpicking and like complaining.
I think that, like, in terms of like sci-fi movies, it's definitely like it's obviously a very campy, like, it's definitely worse than Star Wars, at least the original trilogy. It's definitely not as good as other more artsy ones like your Blade Runners and stuff like that. It's just kind of like a sci-fi movie that's like, yeah, that's fun to watch every once in a while, maybe once in a lifetime if you so desire. But I like, I don't know. I kind of feel like, yeah, it's there.
It exists.
I had more fun obviously watching it when I was like 16 or whatever, whenever I originally watched this. And watching it now, like, yeah, I mean, it brings back a lot of nostalgia, but like, just, as I just said, like, Star Wars was more my thing. So like, I watched this and I was like, yeah, that's cool, that's great, I love this. But do I really like love it? No, like I can't put it above a lot of other full-fledged franchises that had more going on and like better writing and better characters and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's not to
like
say
that
this
for
movie
me-
was like a dud in terms of like storytelling and whatever, but there's other movies that
Yeah.
just do it better.
Yeah, and I saw this movie as an adult. Like, I didn't watch it when I was a kid, so it definitely wasn't like one that was like, oh yeah, that left an impression on me. Other than, the impression of yep, that was a movie.
That is there, and it happened.
That was a thing that happened.
movie of its time.
No
All right.
thoughts then?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do our final thoughts and rating. I guess I'll start us off, seeing as the person who picked the movie is not here. But Starship Troopers, more like Starship Poopers. Am I right? I don't. I mean, I don't hate this movie. I think that it's just kind of like a bit above average sci-fi movie. Has some good ideas in there. Has some decent CG and whatnot. I do like the character growth and the, well, maybe not growth, but like just the characters and how they go from stars in their eyes cadets to the old men and women of the force. Also, we kind of forgot to mention, like, this is like a very it's a very like I don't know, is feminist the right word? It's like a very feminist movie where it's like everyone's kind of doing their part. Like, it doesn't matter what what gender you are or what race you are. Everyone's kind of equal footing here.
Yeah.
And I find it so crazy that people, probably the same people who love this movie, are also out there going, "Oh, this is woke bullshit," to like the newest stuff that's out there.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
But like this movie has a ton of stuff that people would call quote unquote
Ton
woke
of woke
nowadays.
bullshit.
But no one really complains about it because it's a good old movie, you know. It's,
Yeah, and they weren't throwing it in your face. Like, it is what it is, and I feel like that's what we need to do as a society. Like, don't make it a huge deal. Just make it normal. Like, just treat it like it's normal because it should be.
yeah, and I don't. Yeah. So anyway, back to it. I think that in terms of that, it's also leading the way in that. Like, and even like Star Wars, like Princess Leia wasn't like the wasn't like the damsel in distress. She actually could hold her own, right? So like, Star Wars was right there with it. But Starship Troopers, I think, did that a little bit better in a lot of ways, where it's like, okay, everyone's here. It doesn't matter who you are. You're good to go. So it was a bit ahead of its time in that way as well. In the end, I will give it a 3.5 out of 5. Was a fun watch, but I don't know if I need to watch it again at this point.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Starship Troopers. Like I said, the relationship aspects and all the scenes and everything in the beginning just kind of felt slowed the movie down. The special effects, I guess they were good for its time. They just didn't age well at some points. Overall, it was good, but there's just points where it just didn't age well, or it was just kind of cheesy, like the whole football game. Even though it's only a couple seconds, but it was just like, really, you need to see them do double barrel flips and all that. It's like, you could have left that out, but I guess it's more fun. I already said the relationship slowed it down a little bit. The special effects were okay. I kind of agree with Yemmy. I don't need to watch it again until like later on. I can let it rest for a little bit. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5.
As for me, yeah, I didn't hate it. Like, it's fun, it's campy, it's dumb. You guys have kind of already talked about all the things that kind of I feel about it, so I also give it a 3 out of 5.
Wow. Yeah, I think I really liked it, like, because it reminded me of Star Wars and it reminded me of stuff that I've already seen before. Even though I had like no idea that this movie existed until this podcast. So I like that. And I like the random like hot celebrities, like not hot, but like ones that we know now. That have been in stuff, like the dude from Breaking Bad too. He was in there, which I thought was kind of cool. Kind of cool to see those little cameos. But yeah, for that and just to appreciate where we have come as CGI and all that good stuff, I was gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
You did give it a 3.5, or did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was going to, but I still am.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really finish that thought. My whole thought is that I'm giving it a 3.5. It's Monday, okay? Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Well, before I give the next movie recommendation, does anyone have any schmo recommendations for this week? And if you need to think about it, I have one myself.
Go
for it.
I saw Smile 2, and
sorry.
Oh.
it was very good.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Much better than the original movie. The original movie is kind of like a 3 out of 5, and I gave this one a 4.5. I was very happy with it. It was
Wow.
actually disturbing and fun, and it had a nice twist, even though I did call the final scene of the movie from the first trailer. I still had fun going through the adventure and through the twists and turns of it. So in terms of like concept, like, yeah, sure, someone smiling is not like the most scary thing ever, obviously.
The way they put it in, it seems like it. Anyways, sorry.
Okay, well, I watched the movie. Okay, so thank you. I watched both the movies, and the whole smiling trope is not like that spooky, but what happens around it is well done. So if you want a post-Halloween spooky movie, Smile 2, I personally think it was very good. I really enjoyed it. Got your heart pumping, gave you a few scares here and there, and had some. I mean, it had some of the CG was not like great, but it had some really good effects in there. So it was fun, enjoyable.
That's right. Someone's smiling like that at me, I am punching them in the face.
Okay, well, what if it's a small child with braces?
No, well, if it's smiling like a demon child, then yes. I'm kidding, no.
They're getting punched just like everybody else.
I'm good. I've seen those commercials, and I'm good. And they're on, like, every day, too. After every football game, it seems like.
Boo-hoo. Anyone else?
My recommendation is that game that you decided to uninstall because like you didn't really enjoy it the first time around. Reinstall it and give it another chance. Make it a good day. Get a snack you like or a drink you like. Wear your favorite comfy cozy clothes and try it again because I did that and now I am hyper fixated on Phasmophobia and I am enjoying the heck out of it and I hated it the first time. So that is my recommendation.
Do you play with Callus every time he plays, too?
Not every time. No, Callus is a cheater. He cheats on us all the time and plays with other people. So, no, it's mainly me / Trashy. We're the main three, I guess, and then Callus comes when, he's done playing with his other friends. Whatever. So.
Callus? It's okay.
Yeah.
We have to give up an arm and a leg to play with Callus, so. You probably have it more than us, so. Or better than us, I should say.
I don't know. But, no, it's fun, and I suggest you do that with something that you've given up on.
Well, okay. Anyone else?
Drink
Nope.
water, I guess.
Drink water. That's a good one.
All right. Well, it's time for me to suggest a movie. And I do have a question to ask. When the next episode comes out, it's going to be right before December. So it's not
It is
really...
not too early for a Christmas movie.
All right. Well, I have 3 options right now that I'm juggling. Would you rather have like last year I did this and I'll do it again, a movie that people don't normally think of during Christmas time, or do you want like a serious movie pick, or do you want a fun movie pick? It's up to you.
My life really sucks right now, so a fun movie pick would be really
fun.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun would be good.
All right, let's do Muppet Treasure Island from 1996, directed by Brian Henson. Set sail for Muppet Mayhem after telling the story of Flint's last journey to young Jim Hawkins. Billy Bones has a heart attack and dies just as Jim and his friends are attacked by pirates. So much fun. The gang escapes in the town where they hire out a boat and crew to find hidden treasure, which was revealed by Bones before he died. This one stars Tim Curry as Long John Silver, Billy Connolly, Jennifer Saunders, Kevin Bishop, Dave Goles, a bunch of people, every single Muppet as well. Gonzo, Kermit, Miss Piggy, etc. So yes, this is my fun movie pick, and it's on Disney Plus if you so desire to watch it there. But it's also on Amazon, Apple TV, and many other places.
I'm so excited.
This is a movie that I watched when I was like 5 years old. And I also played the computer game when I was a kid, too, on my old Windows XP.
Nice.
And I have not watched it since, so it'll be an interesting revisit.
Hooray.
That'll be a fun one.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen this movie since the 90s.
Well, it came out in 96.
Yeah.
So you must have saw it in theaters.
No, I didn't. I saw it on VHS at a friend's house, I believe. I may have seen it also in theaters. I don't remember.
Oh, VHS.
I do remember seeing one Muppets movie in theaters, and it was like Muppets Go to Space or something like that.
Muppets in Space.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Well, Muppets in Space was like that was from the show. Like it was a skit on the show, I think.
It's a movie.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure it's a movie.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think it was a movie too.
Muppets from Space, yeah, 1999.
Yes,
I think
that's right, 'cause
Gonzo's
I was
trying to find
out
like
Gonzo's an
yeah.
alien.
Yeah, he's trying to find his family.
Yeah.
It's family. Oh my
But-
gosh.
Yeah, so...
I love the Muppets. Ugh, they just cheer me up.
See, I would have done the Muppet Christmas Carol, but I watched that last year, and I mean, you know, it's a good one. Don't get me wrong, but
It makes me cry.
I want to watch something different, you know.
Yeah.
So sweet. Oh, I'm so excited. Yay.
So if you, the listener, don't want to be spoiled, or if you want to join the conversation for Muppet Treasure Island, make sure you watch that before the next episode airs in 2 weeks. And we'll come back, reconvene, talk about it, see what we likes, see if we don't like something, obviously. All right. Does anyone else have anything they want to say before we end the show?
Take care of yourself.
Be good.
Make good choices.
All right. I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I've been here with...
Greedy Waffles.
Taymation.
Ray of positivity.
And this has been another episode of Film Freaks with a Z. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I almost said this is another episode of Starship Troopers.
I kept wanting to say Starship Enterprise.
Ship Enterprise.
And we all know Greedy watching Starship Troopers. There you go. You got your $1.
Yay.